What's going on, everybody? It's your boy D from DNC Digital, and I'm back talking about Mission Pro Wrestling. And I'm not going to stop saying it. Hell Hath No Fury, September 18th in Pinball's Kingdom in Buda, Texas, being streamed on the Title Match Network. Today we're going to be talking to Brian Cervantes. He is one of the brains behind all of this. He's a huge supporter, and we're going to bring him in right now. We'll be talking Mission Pro Wrestling and what we should expect for the future of the company and how historic this event is. What's going on, Brian?
Hey, how's it going?
How's everything, man? I didn't know you were a Texan fan.
Oh, yeah. Everything Houston.
Oh, everything Houston.
Yeah,
so you're an Astros fan.
Astros, Oilers, Texans, whatever. Comets, things that don't even exist anymore, you know?
When I was a kid, I was sitting in front of the TV crying when our pitcher decided to retire, and then the next season he shows up in an Astros uniform. So I'm a little impartial to the Astros. How you been though? How's everything been? I know everything's kind of crazy and it's all moving so fast. What's it like behind the scenes right now as we get toward? We get closer to Mission Pro Wrestling. Hell Hath No Fury.
Well, for me personally, it's kind of easy this time because I'm really not doing that much. The ladies are pretty much handling everything. I just offer, like a little advice here and there, but I try not to influence anything anymore. So kind of just hear their stories out and maybe okay. So it's going to be very interesting to see, kind of like owning a promotion, but not having any say in it is kind of interesting.
I bet, especially when you have Thunder Rosa. You were telling me how tough she can be.
Oh yeah, she's really a good business person when it comes to that. And I was usually the person back in the day when I ran Sabotage in here to spend more money, and she was always like, no, we got to cut back. So. It's kind of interesting.
Give everybody a little history lesson on Sabotage.
Basically, we started Sabotage in, I think it was 2016. It all came from Stardom USA. They were going to run a show, and that show fell apart. And they had booked Mel for that show, but there was a lot of girls on there that were like, man, a lot of girls were coming to California. A lot of girls were coming from Japan, and I was like, I don't want this show to end. So then I proposed something to Stardom to keep the show going. And Sabotage was just supposed to be one show just to just bring all these girls from Japan and Canada over and Mexico. But the show went so well, we just decided to keep running shows, mainly in California.
So tell me about the decision to change Mission Pro Wrestling and now make it an all-female promotion.
Well, basically that happened with kind of with the Speak Out movement. I saw a lot of negativity, just so much negativity that was going on. I mean, I don't need to repeat it because everyone remembers.
We all know.
But something just clicked in my head and was like, you know what? I'm so sick of seeing women not having opportunities, not having a platform. Why don't we just make their own platform? I kind of told my wife, my wife has always been kind of hands off for the most part as far as creative and all kind of things with Sabotage and Mission Pro. So she was like, well, I'm not going to do that. I was like, well, how about I do this? You're the owner and I will hire a booker so you don't have to do that kind of stuff. And that's where Robin Reed came in, and Robin Reed just happened to make a post about, I would love to be a booker or some kind of creative inside of a promotion. I was like, okay. And I already knew Robin, so I was like, how serious were you about that post? So here's an opportunity. Let's see how serious you really are. She jumped on it right away, and from there, they took over.
And it almost steamrolled. It's kind of like a snowball going down a snow hill. It just keeps building and building and building. And I'm always telling everybody, the closer we get, the more important I realize it is What do you think Mission Pro Wrestling can do for the women in the professional wrestling business?
I mean, I definitely think this is something that's much bigger than even just Mission Pro.
Right.
I think this is something like, if this is successful, why won't we see? I mean, I would like to see a lot of Mission Pros everywhere throughout the country, but why can't we just see more all-female promotions popping up? You know, not to say they can't have men involved, but like women controlling the booking, women controlling the being the owner, women controlling, you know, on the cameras, the creative ideals, because usually we just see a male perspective on everything, and we've always seen that. You know, like there's promotions that give women, like Sabotage and, you know, Mission Pro and Shimmer Shine, you know, but they always ran by men, so you always have that male perspective. Even though some of them might have like some female bookers, but there's always that male that's kind of controlling the story and the agenda. And I was like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with it. Let's just have it 100% y'all stuff.
So what kind of response did the public give you after you guys, you know, officially announced that it was an all-woman promotion?
I mean, it kind of, I mean, I knew it would be positive, but I didn't think it would be that positive right off the bat, you know? And especially like, hell, I wish I would have done this a long time ago, because I used to struggle to get sponsors for like Sabotage and, you know, the beginning of Mission Pro. I was like, shit, you go out there and try to sell somebody on it, they're like, oh, yeah, I don't know, you know, like trying to squeeze $100 out of somebody, it was like the end of the world. But here it's just like people are like, oh, how do I get involved? How do I get this? How do I become part of this? And that was kind of overwhelming. We've actually had to turn down sponsors because, you know, like, as you know, you're doing interviews with these women. There's only so many women on it, and there are so many interviews trying to be, and most of our sponsors are like people who do podcasts. So it's like almost like the girls, oh, I got 20 podcasts just from this one show. So I kind of tell them, you know, it's kind of a way to get your name out there too, you know, because you might have a certain amount of viewers that watch your show. Bob Monkeys might have a, you know, certain amount that watch your show, that they cross over and you get a new audience, you know, get a new fan base.
Definitely, and that's what I'm actually benefiting from. You guys have been so supportive of me and my stuff that I put out. That you know, you guys have been pushing all of my stuff, and it was just a mutual friend that we have, is Jeremiah, that we met on Facebook and we just talked wrestling, and then I just requested the interview with Thunder Rosa, and then from then on we just started our working relationship. But it's been so cool because I've been a fan and I just didn't know how to, you know, how to do all these channels, you know, but now I'm finally learning and getting a lot of positive responses from all the interviews from the ladies and the viewers themselves. So, you know, talk about the sponsors. Who do we have as sponsors besides myself?
I don't have them with me.
I know we got We Love Wrestling.
I'm not technology, you know, we're like, oh, let me click over here to there.
We got SWE Fury. I know we got them. We got We Love Wrestling.
We Love Wrestling.
Sam's Other World.
Yeah, Sam's Other World. Now I'm just gonna feel bad because I know I'm gonna leave a couple off. You know.
But all great sponsors and all Rocha Multimedia.
Rocha Multimedia.
I know that everybody has. Oh, and Texas Wrestling Review. Everybody's been pushing the show so much.
And Josh the Pit in the pit.
Oh, that's right, Josh the Pit. I totally forgot. He's gonna kick my ass for forgetting him.
Yeah.
But
actually, don't they come on shortly after the show?
What's that?
They come on Thursday nights, right?
Yes, I told him. We already know that we're actually competing against each other. For viewers.
Okay.
But definitely all the sponsors have been pushing this show so much. So just so everybody knows, Title Match Network, but it's also in Buda, Texas, Pinball's Kingdom, September 18th. What kind of things did you guys do to make sure, because I know we're in a crazy time right now, so you guys are enforcing social distancing and everybody has to go with a mask, is that correct?
Yes, and there will also be taking temperatures at the door also. So temperatures, masks, social distancing, which is going to make it very unique because we're looking at capacity right now. So we're trying to figure out like, damn, someone might be sitting pretty far out there. We do the 6 feet thing. But I think you could have, if you come in a group, you could sit together.
No,
So
yeah,
that's kind of how it works with the venue. So they're going to have to help us out a little bit on the seating. Of course, the people who already got their front row are going to be up in the front row, and the VIP are going to be in their certain section. But everyone else is going to be like kind of like a puzzle, trying to piece it together. So that way we make sure we stay within the guidelines.
So tell me about the production value. What goes into putting up a show like this? Now that you've gotten a good amount of sponsors and you got a great amount of attention and publicity, are you already coming up with the way the place is going to look, the stage, the curtain, and the guardrails and all that stuff?
Yeah, that's usually where they leave it up to me, because usually, like this time I was like, okay, it's all y'all, but they were like, well, how are we going to set it up? How are we going to? Because the last, I don't know, were you at the first one?
I was not. No.
Okay, so the first show we were out in the beer garden, so it was already like a cozy setting where we jammed a bunch of people in a spot, which had a good little atmosphere. The other side where we're on is more like a wider open space, so it's not as decorative. So we were like coming up with ideas like, okay, we get the curtains here. Can we get some banners here? Can we get some? I was asking the pinball people, can we bring some of this stuff out of the venue to make it, like spice it up a little bit and make it more festive? Because I'm big on like creating that atmosphere, like if it doesn't have the atmosphere, I don't want it to look like just another indie show with a ring and, a bunch of chairs and nothing going on in the background. I like the look of the visual, kind of like the Thunderdome, like when you're watching the Thunderdome or watching a show when there's a crowd in there, it's much more appeasing than like looking at something with an empty crowd.
Yeah, now we can it's a good segue. We can talk about mainstream wrestling. So today is Thursday. I don't even know what day it is. Today is Thursday. Yesterday, Thunder Rosa made her AEW in-ring debut against Serena Deeb, and everything I've been reading today, because of all her talent and the fact that Serena Deeb is a hell of a wrestler too. They're saying that it is the best showing between two women in Dynamite history. Now, of course, it's a short history, but still, that's a hell of a validation, So, what did you think when you saw her walking out? What kind of sense of pride did you have after all this hard work, all these years? Now she is in AEW.
I mean, I always looked at it like every stage. When she came out of Lucha Underground, it was a big deal. When she came out to Ring of Honor, it was a big deal. When she went on WoW, it was a big deal. Being in the NWA and winning that title was a big deal. So this is just another step. I was totally in the mood, totally enjoying it, and then when they went to commercial, I was so
that was some bullshit. No, that's some bullshit. You gotta, and it's not because I know her personally and I have a bias toward her, but if you are trying to establish a character with a huge match this coming weekend, Jason VW, what's going on, buddy? It kills the momentum when you do the commercial break. Even if you want to do the picture-in-picture thing that they were doing.
I didn't even mind the picture so much as when they went straight to commercials. It was like, wait a minute, because I knew what was coming up. I know her sequence. So basically, when she was giving all the heat, they went to commercial during her whole entire thing, which kind of defeated the whole purpose of her looking strong going into the next pay-per-view, because you took all the stuff out where she was looking strong. Yeah, they came back and they had a segment where they showed her do a drop kick, but there was more things in between that a minute and a half that was where she was shining the whole time. So it was personally, I was kind of pissed off, but then when I calmed myself down and I started to try to enjoy it again, so I was just like, my son was like, oh, just calm down, Dad, calm down. I was like, no, this is our fucking moment. They fucking ruined it,
What did your son say? How did he feel?
Well, he was like, why are they going to commercial right now? We just watched a 21-man fight.
Oh, that was weird. That just went on too long.
It was like, okay, this is going on way too long. they went to commercial and they still fighting. It's like, what is going on here? You know, it's like they're gonna show all that, but they can't show a hype match. You know, so I was disappointed, but then once I calmed down, I was very excited. And then once I started seeing the feedback, then I was like, okay, it was all worth it. You know.
Now, let's talk about the feedback. How did you guys feel with? I mean, even with the because I feel like wrestling fans always find something to complain about. Always find something to complain about. So you know, when she debuted with the promo and challenged Sheeta to the title match, there was no negative stuff online. And the same thing with last night. This morning, I was reading up, no negative stuff. So talk about the feedback that you guys got and what you guys how you guys reacted to that.
I mean, any tweet that comes out there, Thunder Rosa, like in the last 3 weeks, I've read everything. So there's like 2% negative, you know, 98% positive, which is unheard of in wrestling.
Right.
So the negative, I'm just brushing it off, you know, like, oh, she doesn't deserve it. There's a ranking system. You hear that kind of stuff. There's someone was insulting her saying, oh, who's that dude fighting? You know, like little stupid stuff like that. But this time it wasn't getting to me at all because there was so much positive, you know. So seeing all that positive just kind of makes me like just proud because of all the years that she's gone through this, trying to make a name for herself, putting herself out there. Sometimes putting over talent who are not even half as good, you know, just shows that people respect her for what she's done. And that's all it's about, you know, getting some respect finally.
She definitely has the respect of the fans. I've seen only positive stuff when it comes to her. Can you talk about the support that you guys have gotten from NWA and AEW, specifically like Billy Corgan and Tony Khan? How have they been throughout all of this?
Well, I've never met Tony, but, you know, I never met Billy either. But from what I hear, Thunder says they're very supportive and, you know, very both knowledgeable in wrestling, and they both want to make an impact in wrestling. Not, I shouldn't use the word impact with talking about Billy.
With that promotion.
they want to make a
statement. How about that? Want to make a
statement, you know, with wrestling. So watching NWA Power in this last year, before COVID, you know, they had a really high upswing. So it was really cool to see that Billy was willing to like let his champion be on an AEW show, you know, so he didn't have to do that. You know, he could have turned it down, but he decided to go with it, you know. I think it benefits both companies. So
when we talk about NWA Power, it's you can watch it on YouTube. So you know, AEW Dynamite, NXT, Raw, SmackDown, all broadcasted on a cable network. Is it more of an advantage that NWA Power was on YouTube, something that everybody can get to, so that she had a larger audience?
Yes and no, because, you know, with YouTube channels like MLW is primarily YouTube too, but how many people actually go and watch it? You know, the people who watch it, they love those shows, you know, they're big supporters of those shows. Me personally, I like watching NWA Power more than any other show because that's just my preference. Not just because Thunder is on it, but because it's kind of smaller, more intimate, kind of tell more stories, and the stories make more sense. You know, people are allowed to tell promos, and they're not scripted promos. They can make mistakes. You can go with it, and it's something more real to me. That's what I like about it, you know. So now the advantage is being on something like AEW, you know, is like, or, you know, the other one is just the amount of viewers that are watching, the more exposure that you're going to get. So the more people watching, the exposure, the more chances you're going to be able to make more money out of it, more stuff like that, you know.
So in you know, a couple issues ago, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, you had an awesome, you know, you open up the magazine, you had an awesome picture of Thunder Rosa, and then there's a 4-page article, Obsessed with Greatness, I think the title was, It was a really dope article. Today, Sports Illustrated released an interview with her. Busted Open Radio released an interview with her. Is it all going faster for you guys now, or is this something that you guys were already prepared for?
No, we've always been prepared for this because even though those are bigger publications, we've been doing smaller publications every day, you know, or different, you know, talking to podcasts like yourself, you know. Now, Busted Open Radio is going to give us more listeners and more viewers that maybe didn't hear about them. But, you know, we've been doing the grind this whole entire time. It's just now because we're on a bigger platform that now more people are like, oh, who's this Thunder Rosa that they had on before? Now they know because, like, oh, I go back and listen to that show now. You know, she's been on Busted Open Radio like 5 different times now. You know?
Oh, just now it's like a bigger episode, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they had her on after she won the NWA title, before that, you know, so. But now it's when people are listening to what she has to say.
You know,
so sometimes you have to make it to that level before people, they can see you every single day. It's like being at work and you see the same person every day, but you don't know nothing about them. But then once they do something great at work, then it's like, oh, I gotta go talk to this guy, you know.
Totally.
Like, oh, I should have been talking to him the whole time, you know. I didn't know how good he was at his job, you know.
Yeah. When you talk about NWA Power being your preference, did you grow up watching NWA?
Yes, I did. I grew up in Houston, so I was watching Houston wrestling.
Okay.
With Paul Bullock and stuff. So, you know, I grew up watching Junkyard Dog and just everyone in that, Gino, just everyone in that time period in the 70s and 80s, you know. So I didn't, and then, of course, when watching cable, I used to watch TBS, WTBS, watch their wrestling. I never was really a WWE fan, WWF. It wasn't until, like, I think I got into WWF like when they had a Royal Rumble, the first time they had the Royal Rumble. I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool concept for a match, you know? Yeah. And then that was kind of the only thing I would watch. And then they came up with Survivor Series, and I like the concept of like 4 versus 4 kind of.
I'm sorry, is that Sunny Kiss on our chat right now? What's going on? Sunny Kiss XO, very honored to have you in the chat. That's so cool. Sunny Kiss, AEW wrestler. You know, now that Thunder Rosa has gone to AEW, did she have a bunch of buddies there that was like welcoming her with open arms anyway?
Well, hopefully Sunny was welcoming her with open arms. I don't know. Yeah, she's had a lot of friends there, especially because a lot of them were from Lucha Underground. Mm-hmm. So a lot of them worked with her there, and a lot of them started with her on the indies. So, yeah, I mean, wrestling's a very small world when you think about it.
Yeah, I've noticed that, especially with Texas wrestling. You know, there's another question. Is there something to be said about wrestlers from Texas? Sunny Kiss, holy shit. Wow, very nice to meet you, man.
Yeah.
Very, you know, Sunny, to tell you the truth, if I can just, you know, go off subject for a second, I applaud you and what you're doing. I'm a big fan of you, so it's really cool that you're on the chat.
Yeah, they need to let Sunny be on TV more, though.
Yeah, they do. You had a cool run-in this past episode of Dynamite. So to go back to Texas wrestling, you talk about like the Undertaker, Austin, Shawn, the Von Erichs, the Freebirds, and now like you got like Nate Jolly, you got Thunder Rosa, you got Sammy Guevara. I think Ember Moon is from Houston, and then like a lot of the ladies that are booked for Mission Pro Wrestling. Is there something to be said about wrestlers from Texas? Are they just a different breed? Because I'm originally from New Jersey, so moving out here, I've noticed that just a lot of Texas wrestlers, friends of friends, have gone on to AEW and NXT and stuff. I don't know, because we started in California, so there's a lot of great wrestlers in California, too. Mm-hmm. A lot of great wrestlers in Texas. It's just a matter of, in Chicago also, those are kind of like the hot spots. So I think a lot of people in Texas have gotten noticed more recently because, you know, like
I like to think Sabotage had a lot to do with it because we're bringing girls over from different spots. Wrestle Circus, when they were around, they brought a lot of eyes to Texas. Inspire Pro. So there's a lot of coming. GCWA, they bring people from all over the world. So it's just a matter of Texas not just booking just Texas people, but bringing in those other people and making those connections. I think that's a lot that had to do with it, you know.
Who is this? R.D. Stinson for the NWA pod will be represented at Hell Had No Fury, while Tanya will be ringside. Evidently, Brian has banned me from the building.
Yeah, he has to stay at the hotel, I think. Yeah.
Jeez. One thing I did want to ask, and it's kind of man, it kind of escaped my mind. When we were talking about Texas wrestling, no, that's the one. So was it true that there's a story, and I just want to see if it was. I just wanted to confirm it. Was it true that Thunder Rosa got a concussion in a match, and you actually suggested that she paint half her face?
Well, it wasn't completely like that, but she did get a concussion in Japan, and that's where Hana Kimura took care of her. Hana was her mom. Her mom actually gave her the concussion, you know, because it was Thunder's fault. She wasn't listening in the rings. This is when she was like 3 months into wrestling. She wasn't paying attention, wasn't listening. Her mom gave her headbutt, but she took care of her afterwards, you know. So Hana stayed with her for like the whole week, and then there was just something missing, and I was just like, man, something's just missing. You know, like you're trying. I wouldn't say she was trying to go against her heritage, but she wasn't just trying to be like looked at as just a Mexican wrestler. She was trying to be like looked on as someone different, you know.
Uh-huh.
She did. I don't know if you've heard of Manny Fernandez. Before. Yeah, Raging Bull. He was at a show, and he suggested, this is like her second match. He was suggesting, hey, why don't you come out Day of the Dead? You know, we're gonna dress you up. She was like, okay, whatever. She just did it for his promotion. But then when we got back, she went to Japan, and it was like, something's missing. You know, how are we gonna get you over more here in Japan? And then it was just like, how about you just paint your face? You know, just paint half of it. And she was like, oh, you think that'll work? I was like, I don't know, but hell, why not try it, right?
Yeah.
So we were just trying to look at something, and then I was thinking about like, hey, your T-shirts are not selling, and nothing's moving, you know. So if you do that gimmick, it's more of a tribute to your heritage, more to the. We already came up with the name Thunder Rosa, but there was nothing there with it. So it's like that would tie it all in together.
Yeah, how did you guys come to the decision for Thunder Rosa?
Me, her, and Donovan were in a car ride, and we were just kind of thinking of names. She used to work at a drug rehab facility for youth, and then they also lived there for like 60, 90 days, and, you know, she would build these relationships with these kids, and we saw kids pass away. We saw, you know, all kind of crazy stuff with these kids. So we kind of used that as a tribute, you know, and like, how can we come up with something with your job, you know, like to tie it in with this, to do something for the kids. And Donovan Troy worked at Thunder Road too. And we were like, Thunder, what could it be? I was like, Thunder Rosa, you know? And then I started to do the thing in the car. Well, it only can make sense if we can chant it, you know? So we started practicing together. It was like, okay, that makes sense. That will make people chant. Because I was like stuck in, no, they have to be able to chant your name. If not, it doesn't work, you know?
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Yeah, so then we went with that. At the very beginning of our stage, it was like me, her, and Donovan were like the creative on everything. You know, and now that we're not really associated with Donovan, not because we're, you know, nothing bad, but we've moved on. Yeah. We always try to find one or two other people to, you know, come up with things outside the box with us. You know, maybe in a road trip, or we'll throw ideas at other females or other wrestlers to help them. And I just, that's part of the wrestling I love, coming up with creative stuff to help get people over.
So when it comes to the ladies that are booked to Mission Pro Wrestling, has Thunder Rosa taken on like a motherhood role when it comes to those girls and trying to get them, you know, like she said in the interview. And coincidentally, that interview, want to let everybody know I'll be releasing it tomorrow. That first initial interview that we did with Thunder Rosa, I'll be releasing it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So she wanted to provide a safe place for the lady to come and work and not feel, you know, looked at the wrong way or spoken to the wrong way. What will she be doing in the future with Mission Pro Wrestling, and you guys too, obviously? What does Mission Pro Wrestling want to do for women's wrestling in the future?
We definitely want to make it something bigger. You know, we want to get TV deals. We want to get stuff to where, like, we get people to recognize there is really good women's wrestling out there. You know, it's just a matter of coming up with the matchups that are going to do that, you know, not booking the girls or just the names that are going to come with the attitudes, but people who are going to, like, help each other. You know, that's where it gets really hard when you're booking women's wrestling, because you get a lot of issues in that aspect.
Strong personalities. We can say that.
Yeah, so I would always book people, like, if I had a problem with them, that's the last time they're being booked, you know? If I heard they had problems with other people, I didn't want that. And we've always been very big on, like, trying not to book anyone with drama. I don't care how good they are. I'd rather book people who are good people and going to be helping other people. That's kind of like why we hired Jazz to be on there. You know, because we know Jazz is good people. Jazz is going to sit there and kind of control the locker room aspect of it, working with these women. And who's going to say something to Jazz? You know?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, so we want Jazz to be the person who's, like, going over these matches with the girls. Get them to do things that make a lot of sense, you know. And that's one thing I think a lot of pro wrestling, especially indie promotions, are missing, having that locker room leader or someone, agents going over their matches that actually knows what they're talking about, you know.
Yeah, I spoke to Robin Reed a little bit on that. How I have the network on all day, and you know, I look back at Matt. I'm a huge WWE fan, so I grew up with WWE. You grew up with, you know, NWA and WCW and Texas Houston wrestling, but you go back and you see these awesome matches. And then I didn't appreciate it when I was a kid because I'm just watching, you know, Flair and Savage or Hogan and Andre. And I'm watching and I'm like, man, I see the story being told. Like, finally, I'm seeing the story being told. So, you know, to stay on that subject a little bit, why do you think that got lost? Because Robin Reed immediately answered, like, that's been lost. And as exciting as it is to see a bunch of super kicks and 38 near falls, why do you think that got lost in professional wrestling?
I don't know where it got lost. I think it kind of got lost maybe like kind of like when the NWO came out.
Oh.
Because if you go further back, you start to think, like, okay, you could have a match with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, and it could go 60 minutes, and everyone's, like, entertained, right?
Yeah.
But from, like, 96, 97, 98, you needed more. People started to need more. You know, they needed more drama. They needed more action. You know, you need 12 people in the ring. You need and then when you started doing that, put more and more people in the ring, more of these stories, the stories became overcomplicated to where it's just, then it just becomes a bunch of people beating each other up all day, you know? So
yeah, they wanted a lot more sizzle than steak, as JR says.
Yeah, and then you start seeing that on the indies. The indies started doing the same kind of thing. And then you see, like, I go to indie shows in Texas and other places, and I'm like, oh, my God, another multi-man match, another 8-on-8 match where people are flying all over the place, jumping all over. You know, like, it's like I don't know, maybe I'm too old, but it's like a brain overload. Can't keep up with it all, you know. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I think that's, I don't know, hopefully I don't get Mel in trouble. She don't work for AEW anyway, but, you know, that might be a problem with the women's matches that they have because they don't slow it down a lot. You know, they don't just do the basics. You know, they don't have to, like, try to fly out the ring and do all this stuff all the time. Sometimes just slow it down, do the basics, do them correctly, and people are going to be entertained when you're telling the story, you know. And I
was listening to JR's podcast, and he kind of used the analogy of a stand-up comedian. he says, you know,
Yeah.
the guy does a joke, he has to wait, let everybody digest the joke and take it
Yeah.
in. Is if you do joke after joke after joke, it's going to be all convoluted, and it's not going to. And that's something that Robin Reed, and I'm sure that she wants to. Prize fighting is where it's at, not gimmick matches. RT Stinson, okay.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm
Well,
sure that Robin Reed wants to do is make sure that there's storytelling in the ring. And when you got Jazz back there, like I was talking to her today, and I was like, man, this woman is so cool. Like, and I'm intimidated and terrified of that woman.
yeah.
She's gonna be on the Instagram Live Sunday. I'm gonna have her Sunday at 8 o'clock.
Nice.
So this is something that I've been asking everybody. What do you want people to walk away with after the Hell Hath No Fury show?
First of all, I want them to have a good time. I just want them to be like, wow, that shit was fun. For most of the shows I've ever ran, we always gotten that kind of feedback. I think I ran one show. It's like, oh, people, 1 out of 12 ain't bad.
Yeah.
You're not saying it was a dud, but like I wasn't even that happy with it. But I want them to walk away saying, how do I get my next ticket? How do I invest in this some more? Be excited for the next stage, or come away talking about, man, I can't even figure out which one was the match of the night because all of them were really good. That's what I wanted. We had 7 matches. It's not, one of these shows where you got 11 matches and where, every match is going and then you don't have enough time to show what you got. You got 7 matches. These girls are going to have enough time to show what they got. So it's either sink or swim, You're going to have to show what you got, get invited back. If you put on a dud, yeah, most likely you won't get invited back. So we always kind of put that pressure on them to be like, hey, we're giving you the platform. Now you got to do something with that platform. Kind of like I told Thunder, like a lot of people are like, who the hell is Thunder? Why is she getting this chance? Well, you got Dynamite and you got All Out. Don't throw a dud,
Yeah.
She didn't throw a dud last night, and then hopefully she doesn't the next night. So they'll remember her name. And that's what I want to do. Different pro,
What kind of training? What kind of training is she going through? Is it a different kind of training for All Out? Is she more hard on herself? What kind of training is she going through?
Man, she goes 100% all the time. There is no like, oh, let's step it up for this. No, my wife is crazy. Hopefully, like she literally like gets up at 5, 6 in the morning, goes to the gym 2-3 hours. Comes, eats, goes to the gym again, does boxing training, goes to MMA training, goes back, does more training. I was like, what the fuck? Where do you get this energy from,
Okay, hold on. Let's go through a day. Real quick. You said 4 or 5 in the morning, gets up to do 2 or 3 hours in the gym?
Yeah, she goes like 2 hours at the gym.
And that's like a regular, I guess, waking up cardio type of gym?
Like gym, exercise, shadow boxing, actually, when she goes that early, she goes to her BTT training, and they have a personal what do you call it? Personal trainer there who puts them through the ringer.
So then she comes back, she eats, and then leaves again.
Well, she'll go to the post office, sell merchandise, answer her emails. There's no stopping, Cleans the house, cooks, whatever she's gonna do,
So when you talk about putting your feet up when it comes to Mission Pro Wrestling, are you putting your feet up at home too?
I'm not really allowed to do that. Well, actually, right now I am because I'm hurt. So I gotta. I have a gout attack going on right at the moment, so I can't even move. So I got an excuse right now. Hey, Will, got a lot of guys from NWA on.
That's cool. Hey, it's Will joined in. Mr. Trivia. RT, Ryan Romano, always there for my lives. I appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah.
Anybody in here, if you're Brian's follower, follow me too.
Yes.
I'm doing all the Instagram lives with all the ladies that are booked for the Hell Hath No Fury. So when it comes to Hell Hath No Fury, what will you be doing? Are you going to be allowed to sit down and enjoy it? Are you going to be running the back? What is it that you
well, I definitely won't be running in the back because that kind of contradicts the whole entire purpose of an all-female show, I
Oh no,
definitely
well I
don't
meant
want
like,
any.
you know, running the matches and the ring
No,
time.
no, 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 no.
What are you gonna be
If
doing?
anything, I might be at the very least I might be taking some temperatures or something like that. Something that's like has nothing to do with the logistics of running the show. It might, you know, hell, they might put me at the hot dog stand selling hot dogs. I don't know, you know, something like that. But I really wanted to get to the point where like it was 100% female. I was going to be at the door, like selling the tickets, but no, we got two females are going to be doing the door now. So I'm like, ooh, I don't got to do that. But I think mostly I'll just be helping set up and then break down. You know, during the show, I want to, if I'm going to be helping, it's got to be like
Minimal.
you wouldn't even be able to tell I was helping. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Like maybe if I notice a problem that no one else is catching, you know, like hey, point it out to them. You know, I'm
So,
very observant when it comes like that.
you know, when you talk about having shows that you weren't, or you know, having one show at least that you kind of weren't satisfied with, you know, you talk about the NWA championship win. Talk about AEW Dynamite, her debut in Ring of Honor. Do you guys allow yourselves to enjoy that moment, or is it more like, okay, we got that, what's next? What's the next goal?
This family never gets to enjoy shit. You know, like I'm not lying. Like think about it. She gets back the very next week. She's got a match against Kimberly. You know, and then she's got to go to LA to defend her championship before she even fights Lindsay Snow. You know,
Wow.
so think about that. That's like a gauntlet of matches, you know, like an all-star cast of people she's fighting in the next 14 days, 15 days, you know? So like there is no, oh, let's relax. When she comes on Sunday, our only part that we get to relax is liking the tweets, retweeting Sid, enjoying that, and then it's back on to the next thing, you know? Even after Mission Pro, there's no celebration. I think Dr. Stinson even asked me, hey, can we have a beer afterwards? Hell no, because the next morning I got to go get ready for customs that's going to last 10 hours, you know?
Oh, that's right.
There
Anybody
is,
want
there
customs?
is no
Go to
breaks.
missionprowrestling.net.
In this family, there are no breaks. There are no celebrations. It's just move on to the next thing. If she wins the AEW championship, maybe I'll say, hey, can we at least take Monday off to celebrate?
Hey, it's Will saying she's a machine. No one outworks the champ.
Yeah.
So, you know, now you see all this, when you talk about retweeting, when you talk about liking and reposting stories and stuff, how important of a tool is social media in these days of professional wrestling?
I mean, I think people downplay it a lot. They think, oh, yeah, I could just post a couple tweets or whatever. But if you're not interacting with the people that follow you, why should they follow you? You know, not that we can interact with 5,000 people tweeting something, you know, but even if you try to catch one here and there, follow somebody back. If you see they've been supporting you, that means a lot to them. They're going to be invested more in you if they feel that you're invested in them. And I think that's one thing that a lot of wrestlers and a lot of people in the entertainment industry forget to acknowledge the people that support them, you know. And we've always taken that. Back when she started, I don't do it anymore, but we used to like do the daily birthdays. You know, Facebook tells you the birthdays.
Mm-hmm.
I used to send out the birthdays for her every single day. You know, like I just forgot to do it a couple of months and then stopped doing it. But like at the beginning of her thing, we sent out birthdays to everybody. You know, happy birthday. It makes people feel special. You know, like we do that. Keep people invested in us, and they're going to be invested in you. You know.
No, yeah, and once again, this partnership has been so cool, and I was telling some of the ladies that like getting to know you guys and you know being there at the show and watching the show, that's just bonus stuff. This huge movement that you guys are doing, I'm just honored to be a part of. I'm glad that I can be there for you guys and support and excuse me, like social media is just like free advertising. It's just free marketing. Like that's
why when you tell me like, oh, I can't get a hold of this person for an interview, like, well, I guess they don't like free publicity, you know? I can't answer that, you know? It makes no sense to me. Like, someone's sponsoring your show, you get on there. You know, she had all this AEW stuff going on, but last week she had a show in Dallas, and they were like, "Hey, can you do this radio interview?" She didn't have time, but we made time. You know, because we're like, no, they're sponsoring the show. We need to do our part. You know, like sometimes, you know, as a performer, you might not take each show that serious, but there's a promoter or there's somebody trying to promote that show just like we are. Why not support them just like you expect other people to support you, you know? So we always try to make an effort, you know, if they're asking for something.
I hope I've been doing good by you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Trying my best doing the Instagram lives with everybody, tweeting and posting as much as I can. It's been fun because I just feel like, you know, and I was telling Monica that this is not the only one I want to do. I want to keep this partnership going past this, whatever next show it is, and the one after that, and the one after that. Can you tell everybody where to go for Mission Pro merch, Mission Pro, all the social medias when it comes to Mission Pro Wrestling?
Man, you put me on the spot, man. I'm not even prepared.
You're not good at that. Okay, so it's Mission Pro Wrestling on Instagram. It's missionprowrestling.net. We still have tickets left for Hell Hath No Fury in Buda, Texas, Pinball's Kingdom, September 18th. We got custom matches that you guys can do. Thunder Rosa 22 on Instagram and on Twitter. And she also has a Facebook page that you guys can like. If you are Brian, what's that?
Yeah, we got Serena on here. She was one of the original people that was in the original crew with the Thunder Rosa crew.
Oh, that's so cool. Very, very nice to meet you.
She used to stay in the original Thunderdome.
Man, this is so cool. Everybody who's following Brian, make sure you follow me right here. DNC Digital. If you're following me, make sure you follow Brian so you can see everything about Thunder Rosa and then all the cool stuff coming up for Mission Pro Wrestling. It's going to be on YouTube. So, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. All I need is for you to subscribe. You don't even need to watch these videos. Just subscribe. That's all I need. Follow me. All we need is support. Whose hat do you love? I want to know. I want to know whose hat you love. Is it the Texans or is it the Yankees? Haystack, I'm so proud of her. I miss you both, Brian.
Yeah, Serena's like family. Not like family, she is family.
Oh, she is family. That's awesome. So, everybody, like I said, live chat shorter than 3 hours. I'm sorry, Will. Why don't you go ahead and follow me, Will? Follow me, bro. Yeah, please.
It's funny because Will and Rob, I listen to them for like 3 hours every Tuesday and Sunday night. So like they're probably like, what the hell? This is it? This is short.
But everybody just follow both of us, Mission Pro Wrestling. Everybody have a good night. I'll see you guys on Sunday with Jazz.